welcome to Cast and Crank Podcast. Today, we go back even farther, just like we did with Kelly Pupo, but we're going to go back farther than that. We have Jim Mason. So I originally heard of Jim from Erik, from Erik's Tackle, and also Jerry Rego mentioned him as being one of the original swim bait guys. So, I mean, we're taking this back even farther. So I think Butch is like in his late 50s or, I'm not sure. We're going to 70, what, he's 75?
74.
74. So we're going back really far, and some of this history is, I've been talking to Erik, and it's just amazing. So I guess let's start with, Jim, let's start with where you grew up, how old were you when you started fishing, stuff like that.
I grew up in Oakview. I started fishing probably when I didn't know what I was doing at like 3 because of my grandfather. And it's just something I fell in love with. And then they built Lake Casitas, which is 5 miles from my house, which I used to have my parents take me over at 58.
So you were there when they actually built the lake?
The dam itself was not totally finished in 58. I used to walk over there with my dad and my uncles that used to hunt the ranches for quail and dove.
Okay. So did you get to see all the structure that was in there before everyone?
I got pictures here for you of some of the ranches and stuff.
That or one before it was built?
Aerial photographs.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I got photographs a lot of people never seen.
I don't know if I'm gonna give those out. If I get... No, but it's really cool. So you got to see the lake get built. Mm-hmm. They bring do you see them bring the fish in?
Yeah, not really, but I know when they did stock it at first, they put catfish, they put the bullheads in there, they put red ear, and they put crappie and Florida bass. They put actual Floridas in there.
So what bass were you guys fishing before? Was it the northern strain before?
Nothing. It started out that way.
Oh, so this is like when you first bring the bass.
58 was the first year it opened.
Okay. And
to the public.
So you were in 58, you were how old?
58.
11.
Something like that. 11, okay. 12.
Okay. So at that age, were you really into bass fishing at the time? Or, I mean, it was new to you. Did it trigger you once you knew there was largemouth in there? You're like, oh, this is my thing?
No. I started with my stepdad's dad. I started fishing catfish. And I fished catfish for a long time. The bass were so teeny, there was nothing what you would call large. And it went on that way till I graduated high school, which was in 65.
Okay.
And then I went to work on my first sport boat at 65.
So this is cool because you're not just a largemouth person. You love it all. Oh, you love going offshore and everything.
I fish for anything that swims.
So I guess we'll stay on the track of the largemouth first since we're talking about that. Yeah. So when you're 19 at the time, you finish school 18, do you come back to the lake and start focusing on largemouth a little more?
No, what I did is I got drafted in 68. I got out at Christmas 69. I went back to work for one of my old bosses, he bought the Ranger 85, and I worked for him for quite a few years. And then I went to work for my dad in construction, building houses and commercial buildings. And I moved to Oakview. That's when I bought my first boat. But I would go over to the lake, and it was start fishing like worms and stuff. First worms I ever seen were from Cream. They were purple.
Okay.
Hard as rocks. I remember the plastic worms that they sold with brass egg sacs on them. We're talking really...
That's crazy.
Well, there was nothing. I mean, if you were looking for tackle, there was no place to really look.
So this was the first time you figured out a plastic worm. Were you fishing it the same way?
No, mainly Carolina rig. It was an egg sinker with a long shank single hook and you would leave the barb out and just cast it out. This is all from the bank, and just you'd get bit. You know
how good was the bite? Was it like you found these plastic worms? Was it like, man, it's every cast I'm hitting them?
Not right then, no.
No.
After I got my first boat, I remember a day I'd catch 100 fish.
How big were the fish?
Yeah,
then?
but they were like no more than 2 pounds.
It's still fun. A lot of fun, right?
Yeah. And this was all a learning curve because I'd never done it before.
Yeah.
Other than the ocean.
What were you fishing? What was the gear you're fishing in this time? Like line? Do you remember the line you were using? Like how heavy the rod was? Anything like that?
I was fishing probably 15 pound. I was using the old Garcias. I mean, the old, we're talking.
Was it Mitchell Garcia? Was it Mitchell?
Yeah, Mitchell's.
Okay.
And that was the old one. We'd get them at Kmart for $25.
So you did this, all the gear was just kind of like, there was no like quality gear. It was like whatever you could get at Kmart. There was no tackle shops or specializing in anything. So you're just buying whatever you could find and using it.
No, even saltwater, they were kind of junky rods. You know, it was like, how the hell do we land some of this stuff in them days?
That's great. That's what I'm saying. Like, what size line were you using in the saltwater?
We fished a lot of calicos earlier, 15 pound, 20 pound. We fished the back in the 60s with the big halibut runs at Santa Rosa and stuff, where we'd go out 100 halibut a day.
Oh, man. That is so crazy.
But,
Do you remember how big the calico were back then?
I used to see them I used to watch them fillet on the half-day boat at Channel Islands, 14 pounds.
You would see 14 pounders?
Yes.
See, this is a question I've had. I'm a huge calico fisherman, and I love it. And I'm going, man, do people really catch? The last guy that caught the record was in, I think, Corona Del Mar. I think he caught 14 or some 13. But to see him in person is like, that's like a black sea bass almost. It looks huge, yeah. I'm sure.
Well, in them days, black sea bass were a dime a dozen, too. Well, they are today now.
Could you keep them back then?
Oh, yes.
Yeah. Are they good eating?
Yes.
Real good, huh?
Yeah.
So when you got your first boat, what type of boat did you get, and what were you doing?
I bought a 15-foot Glastron stick steering, had a 50 horse on it. My meter was
what stick steering?
You drove it from the front seat.
Like if your bass seat.
You got in your seat in the bow, and you had your stick here and your gas here.
So you're just moving the stick back and forth
to move the motor. Yeah.
Oh, that's cool. I see him do that in Hawaii. They have those like stick. If you look at the boats, there's guys running these little 14-foot skiffs jamming, but they have like a stick.
Yeah.
Same thing.
You got wet.
I bet.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So did you outfit that boat out? Like, were you kind of getting more into the bass? So
all I had was a electric motor, foot control electric motor, and a flasher Hummingbird, which I still have to this day.
That's another thing. So how did the Hummingbird work then?
You had to really learn to use it. I mean, you could see fish on it. You had to watch your light. When you went over a drop-off, you would get a scattering of lights. And then single fish, you'd have like a light on the bottom. Any fish above it, it would light up. And virtually that was it. School of bait would light up.
So you were looking more for like a drop-offs and schools of bait.
Casitas basically was nothing but it had no structure. They combed it clean. So you were fishing mainly humps and drop-offs.
Okay. So did you have those all marked out from your previous time seeing it? Did you remember anything?
I remember my landmarks to this day.
Oh, really?
Yes. For humps, bumps.
That's cool. How much research did you do, and how did you go about keeping track of this? Because there was no GPS. Did you have maps? Were you writing on maps? Were you doing stuff like that?
No, it's all mental. Everything, every spot I got, I would either look for 2 landmarks, especially one that would never move, and you straight line marks on them.
Wow. Now, has your dad seen like active scope and live target at all yet?
Yeah, I've seen it. The technology is beyond me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I always talk about this to the dudes that, might not know, but I feel like there's got to be something connected with feelings. So like having a feeling on a rod and knowing what you're dragging over comparing to looking at it. So I think I think over the years you're going to lose that certain, feel for certain things because you're going to be looking at the screen. But have you got to use it and look at it and try to fish with it or just saw it?
I just seen it. I can't work it. I'm computer illiterate. No, your other meter you had in them days was a jig.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, so a lot of that stuff, when we'd be fishing and stuff, it's like, well, what's on the bottom? I can't see it.
Just throwing the
so
jig.
He'd say, oh, well, you're going to hit
feel.
mud here. You're going to hit rocks here. That's like
Wood.
some residual brush. Though it's wood. Those are trees. Like, yeah, you have to learn and feel that stuff. Otherwise, you're just kind of blind.
Do you teach him to kind of do the same thing?
I think to an extent.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, he's fishing little ponds. And
Yeah.
It's basically mud, but yeah, like you feel the line, like you put the line between your fingers. Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
Well, no, I mean, it's just even for younger kids, it's kind of like, I guess once you get into the boat, you're lucky to have these crazy electronic, even if you spend $500 on something or even $200, you have a pretty good fish finder compared to probably when you were doing it or even when you were young. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's crazy to see the technology coming up. But back to your story about knowing the topography of the lake. So you're making your landmarks when you're fishing. When did the fishing start picking up where you're seeing those 1 and 3s turn into 5s and 8s?
Actually, it was a really slow process. The largest fish till in the 80s was 9 pounds.
Okay.
You didn't, as far as 2 pounders, 3 pounders, and smaller. There was times you could take a plastic worm, which is all Texas style. There was none of this other stuff.
No drop shotting yet?
No drop shotting. Maybe a Carolina rig or a split shot in front of your worm. But I seen days where you'd go down the bank and it was like a fish every cast. You'd cast and the line would either go right or left.
Dude.
And
that must have been so fun at the time, like you don't get that nowadays.
Yeah. But the big fish didn't come for later, till a lot later.
So were you fishing largemouth the whole time? Just loved doing it?
Oh, catfish too.
Catfish too? You caught some big catfish out of there as well?
35 is my largest. I got spooled on a catfish, when he was a baby, on 40-pound max on a 155 pin reel.
Wow.
Could not stop it.
Wow. So you love doing the catfish? I love fishing everything. I'll do the same thing.
Well, there's ways of doing that too. In the winter, I used to drift fish them in 105 foot of water. Mm-hmm. And then in the summer, I fish them right on the bank where the water's breaking. Really? Mm-hmm.
Wow, that's a different outlook at it where you'd think maybe in the summer you're going deeper, but...
Oh, they come up.
Not for catfish, huh?
You fish nooks and crannies, like divots in there. You waited for the wind to blow or a lot of boats be on the lake. You wanted the water to turn muddy and be like the ocean, little small waves hitting it. Well, the catfish would move under the mud, mm-hmm. and whatever was washing off the bank, that's what they'd be eating.
Oh, okay. That's a great point, man.
Yeah.
So you're catfishing, you're doing, fishing the small fish. When did the bed start coming into play? When did stuff like that really start happening?
I hate bed fishing.
Okay.
I never did it. He did it a little bit.
Oh, what? Did you smack his hand every time you caught him doing it?
No. I just don't agree with it,
See, I have a different... I feel like in tournament fishing, it's not frowned upon at all. They do it. It's money.
Oh, that's getting to be United States wide.
Yeah. I feel like swim bait fishing, it's frowned upon still. You don't really fish bed fish if you're throwing a swim bait.
Oh, trust me, you can. Yeah, I mean, they will. Like when I was fishing the Worm King, you found a big enough fish, put the Worm King down on there, hop it up and down. and they would eat it for a predator.
Yeah, yeah. So, when did it all change? The size of the fish, stuff like that. When did that start happening?
Probably the big fish started showing in like 82.
Okay.
That's after we had a major riot. The winter of 82 is when the lake came all the way up to Coyote, where they call the Coyote Ramp.
Okay. And that was really high.
Yeah, that was the highest it ever.
Okay.
The lake was built in 58. The lake started coming up. It took 13, all these different years to actually fill for the first time, but it came up in the winter of 82 was an asking raise.
Okay.
Or 62, I'm sorry.
Okay. So, what is it filling from? Is it filling from a river? Where's it filling from?
Mainly rain.
Okay.
They very piss poor adequate way to pick up water. The canal.
So there's no stripers in there, huh?
No.
Okay. So in 82, when it started filling up, the fish had more structure. And what do you think changed?
That's when you started getting the structure in there.
Okay.
Because, like I said, they bulldozed it. They took stumps. They took it all. They just mowed it. Well, that's the new thing with building reservoirs.
Yeah. Just have a big hole.
Yeah.
So in 82, what was your first fish that you saw that got big? Like, you're like, oh, man, here's a game changer.
The game changer for me, I was fishing with a guy named Buddy Brasher, which had he was jobbing out worms out of New York,
Okay.
buddy worms. And I was fishing, I was looking for crappie fishing a 3-inch buddy worm, 13-pounder. I got a 13.
Were you like, what the hell is going on?
And that's when, for me, that's when the big fish took off. I knew they were there,
So that first 13, you're fishing for crappie at the time?
Yes.
And you got a 13-pound. Were you
Yes.
like, did you think it was a catfish?
No.
You knew.
We knew what it was.
Okay.
Yeah, because it was shallow.
What about, so, you talked about the worms. Was that worm one of the first plastic worms that was like a plastisol, like a plastic worm? When did it start changing?
Cream.
Yeah.
Later, it's like anything. It's just other people got into it. It's like I got into buying molds, pouring my own.
Okay.
I got worms at home right now that are over 50 years old.
Wow.
I mean,
crazy.
from Smitty and all these different ones.
So back then you were able to get molds from people and pour your own, or were you making your own molds?
I do both.
Okay. Back when you had the cream worm, did you make a mold after that and go, hey, I could do this myself and kind of do your own deal?
No, I virtually got lazy, and Barlow's out of Texas started selling molds.
Okay.
And I started using those. And then a guy named, I don't know if you ever heard of him, Tex Gaddis.
No,
Okay, Tex Gaddis, his uncle used to have a plane, and he used to have a fishing show.
Okay.
And he'd fly all over the country. Well, Tex come in to Casitas, and his son was pouring plastic, and Tex was making jigs.
Okay.
And spinner baits and all that stuff.
Okay.
And
that was kind of like the one that you started using that was pretty good?
yeah.
Okay. So after you caught that 13 on the that worm, what was the next plan? Did you know, hey man, we got 13s in here. I'm going to go after these bass now?
No, I kept working on different things, and I was out fishing one day out where the old schoolyard was. There used to be a hump there, and one of my friends that was worked for the water company up in Ojai, I seen him throwing this lure, and damn, that's huge. I thought it was huge.
And what year was this again?
That was in probably the mid '80s.
Okay,
that's when these big fish are. This is when Ray easily caught that lake record.
Okay,
but anyhow, he's throwing this lure, and I go, "What the hell is that?" And so I went over and he go, "Show it to me." So he did. It was a Ranowski.
Okay.
6-inch Ranowski swim bait. So I go, So I go out, and the next day I go out, and I went to Kmart, and I picked up a couple. I go, well, I know they must eat them. Nope, couldn't get bit. All of a sudden, their fatal mistake is I was cranking the thing straight up off the bottom, about a 7-pounder rated.
Really?
And then I started changing things. Okay, I don't like this. I got the original lead head in there.
Do you have it right now? Can we pull it out?
Original lead head that these Renowskis, when they were sold, should be on top someplace. It's silver. There's a whole bunch of lures in there.
No. That's why when we're talking, I'd say pull it out. And
right there.
So this is what came inside the Renowski.
This was what was on the Renowski swim bait.
So if you guys could see that. So you didn't like this?
No, I didn't like it at all.
Why didn't you like this?
I just didn't like the shape, and I didn't like the shine.
So what did you do to change it up?
So what I did is I had hilt molds.
Oh, man. They've been around that long, huh?
Yeah. Yes.
Oh, wow.
Hilt. I had the 3/4 ounce little gumdrop.
Okay.
And so I do that too. And so I
feel like everyone if you love fishing, you're tinkering with everything.
You have to anymore.
Yeah.
But I decided, well, okay, I'm going to re-rig these things. So I did. And
why did you just didn't like the flash and the way the head was?
No, I wanted more realistic look.
Okay. So then you made yours, and did you paint them and stuff as well?
Yeah, sometimes not. And then I went to shad 9 head. But the gumdrop is what I used on the 6-inch.
Did that change the game for you when you changed it to the gumdrop? Are you getting more bites?
I don't know. I just didn't like it.
You didn't fish it enough to know, yeah.
Another thing, with all the time I had on the ocean, I was still young, and things still hadn't changed a lot, is what Frank was doing. His name was Frank Bennett. I was watching him. He would cast this thing out. He would free spool it to the bottom. So as the bait fell, it didn't fall like this. It fell like this. And then he'd just crank it back. I'm going, no, that ain't right.
Mm-hmm.
I said, okay. Now I start throwing this thing. As soon as it hit the water, lock it in gear, slowly turn the handle, but not really trying to move it, just keeping the line tight so it would settle right. And they just eat it. And
that's when it started changing. You're like, and you applied that to the Renowski as well.
Yeah.
Oh, man. So how long did you fish Renowski for, and what were some of your big catches on it?
Oh, the Renowski's, friend of mine, 15. I got 13s, 12s, 10s.
When you started fishing this, so this is in 85, mid-80s.
Yeah.
This is when the big fish started really coming in. And
that's when they really started showing.
Okay.
I guess that's because we started fishing for them.
Right? You probably didn't know until then.
But, like I said, Raisley got that lake record, and the first other big fish I seen was after that one water rise that put water in the Wadley.
Mm-hmm.
Guy on a crank, 14-pounder.
Oh, gosh. Now, back in the day when you guys started getting bit, did you keep it secret?
The kid that I was fishing with at that time, we would, if we come into the snack bar or anything, even if we come in to show a fish, we cut everything off and tied big worms and stuff. And I did it for a long time.
Well, I get it. I mean, you didn't have, like, now it's social media. It's like these swim bait guys are tight-lipped. They don't say anything. I can't imagine back then. It's like you tell one person one thing, and it's just more word. It's not even as pressured as it is now, but I'm sure you got to keep your catches a secret.
In a way, yeah. If you don't want it to get out, yeah.
Yeah. So what, after the Renowski, what did you figure, man, there's got to be other baits?
No, I started looking for bigger baits.
Okay.
6-inch, that was fine. But they used to plant pretty good-sized trout in the lake. I know that's what these fish were living on.
Mm-hmm.
So I called Renowski on the phone. They were on the East Coast. They were in New York. I go, do you have anything bigger, like 8-inch? No, our bait's plenty big.
What were they using these baits for? In New York?
I have no idea what. Probably stripers,
okay.
Stripers and bluefish and whatever. But he goes, no, it's plenty big. Oh, no, it's not. Not for what I want to do.
Yeah.
So I used to go down with Erik's tackle constantly, and I run into the rep for Worm King.
Okay.
And so I got talking to him, and you got anything bigger? Well, then I got them all the sizes in here.
I'll bring them out. We want to see them.
But that's how I got started.
So what was the first size Worm King that you got, and how big was it?
7. And then it went 8.
So when you got the 7, the first 7, did it make a big change? Like, were you like, oh, I'm getting bigger fish?
No, it didn't make any bigger fish, but it was just a bigger profile.
Okay. Wow, but so from the 7, you go up to the 8 next, right? Or the 8. And how big did you get with those?
Oh, he's going to show you. Here's one.
Oh, there's the one people.
This is the one that's called the Mastodon.
Oh my God.
I don't like it.
Oh, look at that. That is huge. We're going to take pictures of these as well. So maybe we'll once we talk about something, you mind if I put it right here?
No,
I'm
that's
going to
fine.
take some good pictures.
I don't like, the reason I don't like that one is I don't like the tail on it. You'll notice
Okay.
on these, the tail, see how the tail's completely different?
Yes. It's a smaller tail.
Faster pulse.
Okay.
I don't like the big, even on swim tails today, I don't like the big thumper, which is like, okay, this is the next one I got from Erik's tackle, was called a sea fish,
Okay.
which that was one of the original colors of the Ranowski.
Wow, that thing is
That
cool.
finish.
That is really cool. So you have every size of the Worm King, correct?
This color accounted for a 15-pounder for a friend of mine.
Oh man.
This is another color. That's an actual Ranowski.
Here's a Ranowski right here. Okay. Look at that. And then what are the other ones right here?
2 other sizes.
And these are Worm Kings?
Yeah.
Okay. So this is like, I mean, it's crazy. To me, it's like this is the same stuff we use nowadays. It's no different than, you know.
You can still get, the Worm Kings you can't get.
No.
Then
And what is this one?
I think it's a dinosaur.
That's the dinosaur.
Okay, yeah. So Shane Morgan came in and he had a dinosaur with him. He found it at a garage sale or something. He grabbed it real quick, you know. But yeah, people. So, did the dinosaur, was this a game changer for you?
No.
No.
I stuck with mainly the 7, 8s, and 9s.
Why didn't you like the bigger baits? You just
The big bait. What was weird about fishing that big bait, which I made my own heads and everything for it. Like, I'd be fishing with a friend of mine. We'd be fishing the Worm King up to 9 inches, could not get bit. I would take one of those and cast it in the first cast.
Were you catching big fish with it though?
Yes.
Yeah.
But that's all they wanted. They wouldn't eat nothing else. They wouldn't touch the 9 inch.
No.
No. They wanted one meal.
Yeah. Right.
I figured that one out. And then a lot of the areas that I fished, I never meet it. Like I said, I really didn't have any trick meters.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I had a paper graph for a while, and I picked up a Marine Tech, which was pretty awesome, which I still have.
Uh-huh.
And I knew the area so well, I would just shut off and work cast in.
You knew exactly where you pinpointed your cast. Now, were you fishing like different water columns at the time with everything?
Well, it is a different column, but surface to let it hit the bottom.
Okay. So this mostly were you dragging on the bottom? These
No, I had a pulse rhythm I used on them.
Okay. How did you figure that out?
Just
time on the water.
Just from fishing.
Okay. When you figured out that pulse rhythm, was it like a game?
I didn't tell them Oh yeah, I didn't tell hardly anybody how I fished it.
Yeah.
I mean, everybody I've seen just cast it out and crank it.
So then that's when, I mean, I'm sure you had a million people going, hey, how do you fish that thing? They see you catching in there.
No, actually, not a lot of people. I didn't socialize with a lot of people.
So you didn't have to worry about
So I
that,
didn't
huh?
have to worry about telling them.
Yeah. So then, how long were you fishing the Worm King for until you started moving over to like a jointed bait, or like a AC plug or something?
When AC, the first plug I made, which Erik Huff has it, which I lost track at 50 fish in the teens, tens and teens, 16, 14s. I seen a picture of one of him holding it up in the Western Outdoor News. So I just went up to the shop and made one.
Oh, you just said I can make the same thing.
Oh,
Who was holding it on Western Outdoor News? Alan Cole?
Alan Cole.
Oh, no way. So you just saw this, and this is what you made.
A picture of it. Well, I bet that's out of a 2-inch dowel, and most of the other ones, like these. Okay, you must have them over there. Oh, he's got them. I'm gonna go down. These kids trying to steal them from me. Oh, here's an off spray.
Oh man, that thing.
So this was about the size that everything started out at.
Okay.
Right there. That's one I just made too. Why?
Oh man, you got them all.
Oh, and there's another one. You can't get these no more. LA sliders.
That's when people talk about it a lot.
Whoa.
LA slider. These worked really well as well, right?
Actually, Ken, they outfished your HUD.
Oh, you're gonna get mad at me again, Ken.
No, but we had a day I was fishing with Jay Carter, and I had a whole bunch of those already rigged in a bag, and I'm getting bit. I'm getting chewed, and we just crank these fish to the boat and not even lift them out of the water and just unhook them. Oh, and he goes, "Nope, I'm going to catch one on this Huddleston." I said, "Jay, get in the bag." and he finally got in the bag, and then we both were catching them.
Yeah.
Yeah, they just, for some reason, that's what they wanted.
Liked it at the time, huh?
Yeah.
So when you started making these plugs, the first one you saw, did you know Alan Cole at the time or no?
No.
No. But he was the first guy to kind of make something like that. You never seen anything like that before?
No, I had never paid attention. And them, if you look back in antique books, antique lures, you will find something like that.
Yeah.
So I figured he lived in Bishop, I believe, and he actually was making them the troll for German brown trout at Twin Lakes.
Yes, that's what I heard. Mm-hmm. So, what about this one?
That's the one I caught at 17. That's Silks'. That's a Z plug.
Wow.
I got this lure. I can't get rid of it. On my 17th day when I went on my 17th day with Erik Huff, Rollo Hines gave me this.
No way.
Yeah.
This is cool because this is like the start of the punker and all these new baits,
Yes.
This is kind of like how it all started.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. So when you made the jointed plug, what were you throwing gear wise? You had to throw something a little heavier. I mean,
tell him what I used. Hot dog wants all the fancy crap. I used a 555 Ambassador on a Fenwick light wall tuna rod, 7 foot. I mean, it's light as a feather.
Yeah, but you knew it would handle it.
Oh, it'd handle anything you wanted.
Yeah. Yeah, because at that time though, you didn't really have any dedicated rods for heavy stuff like this, right?
No, and like he wrapped his own stuff.
Oh, did you?
Like that I can tell is painted by him just by looking at the pattern. It probably got worn off, like all the different ones are, painted by him.
So when you first started throwing that, you didn't know the retrieval or anything, right? You just kind of...
It was virtually 2 retrieves. You either walked it on the surface slow, or you cranked it under.
Mm-hmm. And was it another thing where they saw something brand new and it just started biting?
I don't know if it was that. I just know bass feed like white sharks. They look up all the time.
Okay.
And they would come out. I used to call fish up on the wood plug, 65 foot of water when I meet them on the bottom.
Wow.
And they would come up and get it.
What about, they see you then? Would you have to back out or position your boat differently, or you just go for it?
This one here, this plug right here, I had it on 30 pound. I was cranking it. I popped it for a while, and then I was cranking it back. And I looked behind it, and there was this fish following it. And I went to lift it out of the water, and the fish went, That's as far as he went.
Yeah.
I had worm kings pulling him out of the water to recast and have them chewed.
Yeah. Oh, that's amazing times. I mean, so when you're throwing these, did you just go, hey, I'm done throwing like the worm kings, or just throwing everything?
Well, I threw everything.
Everything, okay. And then when did your jointed bluegill, when did that?
I just made it. I started carving. I got trout that aren't even finished that I started carving. And, I made them. Actually made them into carvings with wood fins and everything for displays. Well, I just knocked one out, and I go, I'll make a lure out of it.
Have you caught fish on this one?
No.
So you just thought of that because you're already throwing the Z plugs or the AC plugs. It's the same deal. When did the paddle tails come into play? So when you started using, is that Castaic and the Osprey?
Oh yeah, all these.
Oh, Osprey?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was like everybody, obviously everybody started just making so much,
Where did I put it?
Different stuff that it's like,
That's a big one there.
they just end up handing it to him like, here, fish this, or he'd pick it up at Erik's too.
Yeah.
Either
there's
he
a
was,
ton of history at Erik's, man.
Yeah, he was either tinkering with, building something that was new, that was keeled, that was,
Yeah.
I just
bigger and better.
like to experiment.
Yeah.
If you don't experiment, you don't fish.
Did you, now here's another thing. Did you, were you taking breaks to go fish offshore?
Well, I did it for a living, so.
So when you were working offshore at the same time you're doing this?
I took almost 1 year at the lake and fished. I mean, almost every day.
For 1 year, you almost
For
fished
1
it?
year.
Yeah.
And these, I just come across these. There's people probably want that lure for a display.
Look at that.
Here's another one they come out with, which I was
awesome.
I booby rigged. I booby trapped that one.
Look at
And
that.
what they do is you'd put that in the water, and then you just drop it down to a certain depth, and you'd go along with the electric motor.
Just troll it along? Really? Catch big ones that way, huh?
And then here's this is one of the bigger lures I fished. That is a big saltwater Big O. That's an original Big O.
You were fishing this for large
For the
amount.
lake, yeah.
Wow.
I caught fish on them.
You just knew that, hey, I could. They're going to do the same thing that these fish do in the ocean.
And then here's another lure that Greg Silks, that I've never fished, that Silks sent me.
Look at this.
That's one of Greg's.
Wow. So did you meet Greg at the lake?
No. I got that 17, and he just contacted me, sent me a bunch of baits. I gave him one the other day. I jointed Z-Plug. Now he won't go throw it. He don't want to lose it.
I have a couple of those where people give me some tuned baits, and I'm like, I don't know if I want to throw that, man. I'm sure we'll get bit. It's just hard to throw them. I mean, these are the history. Is pretty crazy.
Well, I got a trout at home I didn't bring down here, and it's only 3 in existence.
Oh, really? Who made that?
Who do you think?
You did?
No, it was Castaic. So
really?
He ended up with
Ken.
Yeah, it didn't look like any of the ones that they sold. The ones that they sold had more of kind of like that football profile. They're a lot rounder.
Mm-hmm.
This one, somebody put some serious work into it where they like pushed the paint before it dried. It had like black inner tube looking fins.
Did you throw that ever?
For a little while.
one time, but I got teeth marks on it. Actually, Ken wanted it back. There's 3 of them. He's got 2 of them.
And you told him, no way, Jose.
Oh, no. I didn't give it back to him because now seeing it's you keep it. So I got it.
So you got a ton of just baits hanging on the wall and stuff that...
Actually, I have my dad built me like a little rowboat. It's about, 5 feet tall?
Yeah.
And we put rods in it, and I got all these lures hanging in it.
Oh, that's cool. That's really cool. So you should take pictures of this stuff, man, and put it up on history. I know, like, you guys know Don Osborne?
No.
From Swimbait City. He has a collection of old baits, too, as well. So he's up north in NorCal. I think he had a... Oh, you know what? He won the HPC. Is it that? You know the big bass tournament they had at... Is it the HPC? It was at Casitas.
Oh, yeah, I was supposed to fish that.
Yeah, so Don won it.
Yeah.
I think he caught like a 11 or 12. I'm not sure what it was.
Well, I had them big fish. I got a picture in here with the largest limit I ever caught.
Can you bring it out? I mean, I will make sure you get a picture of it too as well.
Actually, it's in here too.
Is it in this one?
Yeah, it's got like a 14. I forget.
That's a big one.
Nah.
It's this one, right?
Yeah. That picture right there. That's the biggest limit I had. Well, no, I had up to 10 fish in a day at 10 pounds, but that's
54 pounds.
Yeah.
Wow. And we'll get a good picture of this, but you guys.
There's a good. I got a picture of it, actual photograph in there too.
Wow.
And this was
that day. So, do you remember that day?
Oh yeah.
Can you talk about like how it all went down? I mean, that's a big.
Well,
achievement.
I started fishing on Deer Slope on the far side of the island, and I got one 11-pounder, an 8-pounder on a.
Was this a big deal at the time? Like, I talked to your son. He's like, at the time, an 8 and a 9 was like, eh.
They were nothing.
Nothing.
Yeah. I used to skid these fish across the surface on 30-pound.
This is just like it was like catching like a 3-pounder or 4-pounder nowadays. Where you're like,
yeah, it was just something to do.
So you were looking for anything over 10.
I was looking for a world record.
How long did you chase that thing for?
Till they all quit biting.
Probably close to like 2 decades.
Do you remember it all happening?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it was, like we talked about before, you see the guys fishing on the bank and fishing tournaments and everybody's kind of hugging the bank. And, I'm like Devin's age at that point in time. And it's like, well, I want to go do that. And he said, no, you're going to stay out here. Like, we're fishing for, that one fish of 100 casts. But that one fish was worth it.
Yeah. No, it's just crazy. But I'll let you get back to the story so you can keep going and talk.
Well, anyhow, on that limit, I started Deer Slope. I got a worm king. One worm kingfish was 11. I got an 8-pounder. I couldn't get bit anymore, so I left, and I went over on the east shore. On this one point, it had like trees in the water, and I threw the damn wooden lure out behind me. It wasn't paying no attention, and another big one ate it. So that and then I went down to Orchard Point, which was all the way down towards the Wadley. I left them biting because I didn't want the smaller ones to die. I finished out with 5 limits. I could have went back and caught more.
Was this during a tournament?
No, just no. The tournament that Jay and I were fishing together when Aaron Martins and his mom was fishing at the lake, and we were down by the dam. I don't know how many times we got by double-digit fish. We couldn't hook one.
Damn.
All day long. We'd get bit. The next day, after the tournament was over, I hooked everything and ate me.
And what tournament was that?
It was just
local?
The local tournament.
Wow.
That's when he was real young, before he...
And I remember there's my uncle, he's 73. He fished bass backwards, but he always told me about is it Dana Rosen? Dana?
Oh, Dana Rosen, yeah.
He had one of the biggest bags right in the tournament, like 60 pound or something crazy like that. Was it?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, man.
Oh, I just had working my eyes, laser work. We were fishing a tournament, and we were going behind. Who the hell we fishing there with?
I can't even remember.
Breakbill.
Yeah,
Mike Breakbill fishing. He was fishing the nest in front of us. He couldn't get bit, and he designed a little lure. They couldn't resist. And how many pounds did we have? We had some outrageous poundage.
I can't
and we didn't even weigh in.
No?
The weights were so heavy, we didn't even weigh in.
Oh, everyone else's weights were just huge?
Yeah.
Wow. That was like a real trophy lake for how long? For maybe about 10 years? Longer than that?
Yeah.
It was world renowned. Now it's nothing.
Same thing with Castaic, right? It's not as what it used to be.
Well, Casitas is drying up.
Yeah.
You wait till I show you some of the pictures of where we're at.
Yeah, I think in like that tournament world, the weights that were getting weighed in before a lot of people really like caught on to what he was doing, they were still like manageable. And yeah, as people caught on to like, hey, this dude's throwing, Worm Kings, this guy's throwing wood lures, then you start seeing those weights increase.
Yeah. It's wild. I mean, just you don't hear that. And it sucks at the same time that these lakes that were so good and world renowned, now it's nothing. You know?
Yeah, it just came.
And that's when you stopped fishing for the big fish, huh?
No, it just got where they weren't there.
Yeah.
Why beat my brains out when I go out in the ocean and kill anything I want?
Exactly, huh? Because you're not far from the ocean as well, too, right?
Huh.
Yeah.
So this is his color that Marv made.
That's the one that you like to fish. This is your...
I fished that one yeah, he made this personally for me. That color.
Got a lot of pictures to take after this. This is some cool stuff. Look at that. Why did you like... What was so good about this color?
I don't know. Fish ate it.
No rhyme or reason. You just like this one?
Yeah.
Makes sense.
I had the trout colors.
Yeah.
But
you'd fish this over trout color?
Sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah, sometimes they seem to, they seem to eat it really
Key on
well.
a different.
Did you night fish there a lot?
No.
Never, huh?
My career of fishing over there for big fish was I'd go over there about 7 in the morning and be done at noon. Everybody would stay all day.
Why did you leave so early?
Because I already had my fish. I used to launch the boat. That's when the lake was like full. I'd launch, get in a boat, go motor outside the log boom, catch 2 double digits.
They're good to go.
That quick, though, if they were there.
Now, were other people able to do this? I mean, just random people?
When this book was started, yes.
So what book? Who wrote that book?
I think it's Bart Crab.
Bart Crab, he passed away.
Did they come do an interview about it?
I took him fishing.
Oh, really?
But I'm all over in this thing.
Yeah.
And a lot of people that still don't exist anymore.
Yeah.
You got to remember, age does funny things.
Yeah, it does, right?
It's like the people. I started working on sport boats in '65. Well, most of the skippers have passed away.
Yeah, right.
Some of the deckhands passed away. It's like.
It's just time, right? I mean, you get older and older. So that's why it's so cool you're able to come down here and talk about this stuff. Because, I mean, I like talking history. Like I had Kelly on, or even Butch, or these guys have been doing it for a long time as well. Well, you've been doing it even longer than that, so it's crazy.
If you really look at it, I was starting out with Bill Dance and all of them when they were young.
Yeah.
They're like 8, my age.
Yeah, yeah.
And we were fishing what you would call prehistoric lures.
Yeah, right. It's crazy, but some of these things still work,
Some of the old lures work better than the new.
Yeah.
And some of the old colors, even red and white.
Do you try any new? Do you ever go out and try some new stuff, or not really?
Not lately.
No.
No, I always just took it over the top.
So you're done. When you stopped bass fishing, was that it?
No, I'm carp.
You still go out?
I'm carp fishing.
Oh,
now.
okay. Like the UK where they have the little thing with the alarm.
Oh, I got one.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's a kick in the butt.
What's your big carp?
About 30.
Really? So that's what you do now? Is you're chasing big carp?
Yeah, I go over like 9 in the morning. Home by noon.
Same thing. I like your fish schedule.
Yeah.
That's just like mine.
Yeah.
I go out at I'll leave here like at 5 and get home by 11.
Yeah,
I'm fine with that. If I catch some fish, just like you.
my favorite still is rock cutting.
I
Deep
hate
water.
rock cod so.
Oh, I fish the iron.
But you guys have an amazing rock cod fishery as well.
I fish the iron.
You got some more waters. You want like Topo Chicos?
Yeah.
Would you like one?
No.
Oh,
No.
Nick, you gotta open it over there.
Okay.
But no, I'd love to. I cut my teeth deep water rockfish.
You guys get big ones up though. Like up there, some big rockfish.
It depends. But I like to fish the iron. I make my own iron, so
We still have to get into that part, but we'll keep going on some of these pictures you have of like the topography. And
Yeah,
stuff
so like
that.
the bass fishing, I was probably actually younger than Devin. He's making these wood lures, and it's like, oh yeah, you just sit in the back of the boat and shake a worm. Like that was my MO. Like sit in the back of the boat and shake a worm, and it's like, well, why don't I get to fish that? So about the time I got to Devin's age, I took his design and just went out to the shop, and that's how
you made your own stuff then as well.
That's how that ended up, because it's like, tired of watching Dad catch 10-pounders. I'm catching like 1-pounders. So yeah, I made that at about Devin's age, at about 14. So 94.
How big of a fish did you catch on this thing?
Probably 12.
There's not many bait makers that can go, my bait caught a 12. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's crazy, dude.
Yeah.
That is wild.
like I told you, Erik Huff has my first wood bait I made. I lost track of over 50 fish in the tens and teens.
Did you ever get into the glide bait?
No.
Never, huh?
No, I don't. That was
There was no glides at the time.
There was
right?
nothing like that.
Wow.
I went in the dinosaur age,
I mean, I'm sure it would have been a game changer then as well. But do you fish them now? Will you throw a glide bait around 250 or something? No need.
No, I went back to. I don't care what I catch anymore.
Now you just want to get out and fish.
I just go, well, I can be at the lake and fishing in 12 minutes from my house.
That's nice. Catch some big carp.
Yeah.
Oh, I waylaid a bunch of them last year.
You don't have to get up early.
Yeah.
They haven't really come up. I've only caught 4 this year so far since the first, but we're in winter.
Yeah.
Wait till they come up. I know there's 40-some pounders in there.
That's your next goals.
Yes.
So your PB 17 out of that lake, largemouth.
17.
Okay.
Yeah.
What and your 30s your catfish 30,
35.
35. How about bluegill? Have you caught big bluegill out of there?
Oh, yeah.
There used to be
Way
big ones in
bigger.
Yeah.
Bigger in my hand. And crappie. There's gigantic crappie in there, too.
So your next goal is your carp. You want to catch a 30 something carp, 40.
Oh, 40.
That's the next goal.
I'm waiting for a big one.
What's the lake record at Casitas?
For what?
Largemouth.
That's that one that easily caught 20-some pounds.
We got 20-some pounds. It was Ray Easley. I think
Ray
the guy
easily
that caught it.
20.
It's in
Yeah.
here.
Is it?
Yeah, it's in here. This book has all the information of everything that was going on in the big fish era.
What year was that?
That had to be the 80s.
That book was the 80s?
No, this book's not the 80s. Let's see. Ray Easley. So it was 21-3. Casitas 3-4 of 80. I was born in 80.
What's the state record?
I don't even know what the state record is.
Because we always talk about this.
Bob Krupe, I think Bob Krupe is almost 20, almost a world record.
Bob Krupe's is 22-1. So yeah, it was a big
That was
fish.
probably the one that's probably there right now.
That's the book you got to look at if you want all the information.
No, now that we can see this, I'm sure it's on Amazon and stuff.
Oh, you can get the book.
Yeah, that's top 25 of all time.
Wow. Let's read some of these Castella, Krupe, Mike Rejo, right? Arejo.
I don't
Krupe
know.
again, 21. I had Danny Cadot on.
Yep, I know him.
He's a good guy. Wow, look at the San Vicente. Bacharach. That's in 93. That's pretty crazy. There's some big names in there. That's a big fish, 22. Out of Castaic, huh? 22-1.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm sure there was fish that were that size in Casitas. They just never got caught. We were talking about it on the way down here, and
No, you're probably right.
there was some times where you'd just be puddling along and look down and look at it and go, whoa. Like, I know what a 10-pounder looks like when it follows a wood lure, or I know what a school of 10-pounders look like when they follow a wood lure, and it's like, it doesn't look like that.
It's crazy because then you don't get that fish anymore. I mean, Jason Bassjack was I think the biggest one this last couple of years. That's 18. That's that one right there. But I mean, it's crazy that you're not going to see these 17s happen all the time, 18s, 19s. It's gone.
I think the Florida strand in Casitas is gone.
Uh-huh.
I think the fish we were picking on were the initial Florida stocks.
And you're never going to get that again. That's crazy.
Well, they'll never stock it again.
Yeah. Now it's Texas. Do you keep up on any of this stuff at all?
I see it, but, I don't want to travel.
You got your big fish. You don't worry about it, right? Let's look at some of the topography pictures and stuff that you have and kind of talk about that, if you don't mind.
We got to get to...
Yeah, I took this guy was a character.
Was he?
Oh, yeah.
That wrote the book. Was he a big fisherman as well?
Not really. He was more of a writer, but, he was a character.
How long did you fish with him for?
Just one day.
Okay.
I had I also one day I had
Which ones?
Outdoor Life. Which one? I don't know. Which one do you want to see?
Well, dude, it's up
Now,
to
you break down maybe some of the stuff that you...
There's a picture of the whole lake empty.
Oh, look at this.
Well, not complete, but almost.
Someone's going to be screenshotting this thing.
It's so hard to navigate.
Yeah.
Without like actually seeing it. And
look at that, man. Some cool stuff.
Here's a picture that I got off of one of the rangers and blew it up. This is what I fished off of.
So this
for
was
like a map. Well, it was like using a map.
How full was this at the time?
That is just a little fuller than it is right now.
Okay. Another cool picture.
yeah, so like that thing you're holding in his hand,
Uh-huh.
that's how he
Found a lot of
found stuff is off of that.
That's crazy.
Humps and bumps. If you look out here, we had a place called Nowhere. This is Deer Slope. This is the dam is over here. If you look, you'll see a speck out there.
Right there, right?
Of a hump.
Yeah.
That's how we found some of the stuff.
So if you guys, and I'll take another picture of this so I can kind of zoom in on it. But up here, there's a little speck right here, and you guys can see this, and I'll have a better picture. I'll take another one.
Yeah, it's all out of the water now.
Yeah, right.
It's crazy too because like with all the new technology, like in theory, you don't even need that.
And then here's a backwards picture of basically the same thing.
Wow, some cool stuff. Look at that. That is wild. Did you get a time when this was happening that the lake was like overran with people because everyone started finding out, hey, big fish are here?
Oh, I remember. I remember when they had tournaments on some of this stuff. You couldn't find a place to park. They would have over 100 boats in the tournament.
On that lake?
Mm-hmm. That's when it was full.
Yeah. And was it because you guys were catching big fish over there?
It was just, you could catch fish.
There was a lot of hype.
Yeah, a lot of hype, right?
Yeah, a lot of hype. So a lot of people went to, in theory, test their luck. That's what it was. They were testing their luck.
Did you ever go to Castaic and fish?
A couple times. I wasn't impressed with it. It was fishing. Oh, no, nothing wrong with it, but it only a friend of mine, Buddy Brashear, used to fish it all the time, and it was like walls.
Yeah.
There was only a handful of actually high spots that you could actually, like when Krupe was fishing and everything.
Yeah. Did you have any other lakes you like to fish, or you just stick to
I used to fish Kachuma. I used to
Okay.
go up there, play with the smallmouths and stuff.
Yeah.
It's a fish friendly, they're friendly.
Yeah.
Casitas is not fisherman friendly
Oh, you mean what do you mean by fisherman friendly?
by biting. You can go a lot of time.
Yeah. Yeah, I get what you're saying.
Yeah, Casitas was, you fiar from people like Lake No Fish, and at when I'm fishing with him in the heyday of this, it's like, what do you mean, dude? We're slaying them. I'm like, we're doing great. You mean you fished all day and you caught nothing?
Yeah.
You know,
That's wild.
whereas Kachuma, like the smallmouth, seemed to just bite more
Yeah.
readily, like they were just more aggressive.
I'd have to explain that picture to you. I got so many pictures here from the
What are the pictures from you're looking at right now?
aero photographs.
Really? How did you get them?
I got around. Okay. This picture here, this is 19.
You could turn it towards the camera and just kind of turn it. And what I'll do is I'll zoom in.
Well, I was going
after taking
to
picture.
show you. I was going to tell you what's
Oh,
going.
you could look this way at the camera and do it. The camera's right there. There you go.
Yeah, but see, I have to look at it.
Oh, okay.
Okay, this is what everybody. This is all the way up where the boat shack used to be.
Okay.
This is the main island. This is Coyote. It's empty.
This is all.
This is Deer Slope. This is Deer Slope. This is where they were launching.
Wow.
Early '62.
That is crazy. Look how low that thing is.
It's a puddle.
And then here
This is from '62 then.
that's early '62.
Wow.
Now this next one is after winter of '62, and there is where they're launching now.
Okay.
The lake is approximately almost where it's at in that picture today.
Wow.
And we're not even gonna mess with some of these.
We're gonna give it all away.
No, there's too many of them.
Yeah.
Oh, and this one here, now I can explain this one to you. Okay, I gotta get back to the one. Okay, this one. This is something we don't understand.
Mm-hmm.
What happened here? Because I was probably sport fishing when all this happened. Okay, this is a blown up picture of this, right? The launch ramp, that is not the launch ramp that they're launching on. The launch ramp was here and they destroyed it.
Right here.
Yes,
Why?
we don't know.
Really?
When they built the upper ramp, for some reason, the old ranch and stuff, it was down there, is buried in a big dirt pile there.
Wow. That is some wild stuff. Man, you were really doing some research back then, Jim.
No, not anymore.
30 years ago, yeah.
I don't need to. I got pictures of them. These are pictures, all aerial photographs of all different,
Was that a big help when you're fishing, just to find points and stuff like that?
Basically the one I showed you.
Okay.
The first one I showed you? Yes, because all the water was up there.
Okay.
Yeah, he was just using it for.
He
would pick landmarks, and that was.
That's
the thing.
what I was. Yeah.
And I learned a lot of landmarks from him as well. So it's so low now that a lot of the stuff that I can remember in my head we couldn't utilize because you can't see it right. Versus if it was full.
Okay, this one. You see that? That's an old horse ranch. Oak View is right here. This is Old Santa Ana Road.
Okay.
Okay.
this.
And the schoolhouse is there too.
So he's talking about right here, and I'll have it zoomed in once we get a picture of it.
But it's all out of the water.
Wow.
Yeah, so a lot of that stuff you can walk down.
If you
there.
could just keep everything right there, so after I can just get the camera and,
Yeah.
and snap a picture of all this stuff, it'd be cool.
Well, you might be here a while.
That's fine. I'm gonna make. This is the fun part is when I'm putting it together and it all comes together. It looks really cool. Like I was hoping, man. If you ever got some VHS tapes, I could transfer them.
Yeah,
so
we
it's like
never.
if you did, because I know some of the guys have some old VHS stuff. It's like, hey, man, I could transfer that thing for you, and just that's what I do with Kelly, you know.
This is 58.
Yeah, it's crazy. Like, you know, he didn't.
See, it's all, this is when they were building it. Do you see how they scraped it all clean?
Yeah, no, it makes sense. Look, I put that picture. Look at that. That's crazy.
Here's a better picture of.
The one you showed me previously, right?
Yes, you can see there's the big horse ranch, and then if you look over here, there's another ranch right here.
Yes.
That's Deep Cat Ranch, and Old Rancho Lake is right over here.
Oh, wow. Look at this. Man, you did your homework on this lake, I'm going to tell you that. But it's cool to have you come in and you have these local legends, that people don't really know about, unless you're local to the lake.
And then here's another one. If you look here, coming out of the launch ramp, this is Highway 150 to Santa Barbara. Mm-hmm. That is underwater right now, that bridge right there. And then my brother and I, this is probably approximately in 62 or 61. And there's another bridge right here. And they're both underwater right now.
Oh, wow.
And you would go fish off the bridge, right?
I fish catfish for them.
Well, when you were younger, though, you could fish off of it.
My brother and I used to fish for crappie off of it.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow, man, back in 62. That is crazy.
Just go sit on a bridge and fish.
Yeah. Were you using Zebcos then and the little...
Oh, beat up spinning reels.
Yeah. Oh, man. Let's get into your offshore stuff. Working on the sport boat, some of the stuff you did, the jig, stuff like that. That's a whole.
Some of the things I did.
Yeah.
You don't want to know. You don't even want to know.
So you were working on the boat at what age? Out of school, 17?
17.
Okay. And your landing was what landing?
Channel Island.
Channel Island landing?
It was I went to work in 65 and the landing opened in 64.
Okay. So it was brand new.
Brand new.
Wow. And your first boat, again?
That was called the Star Angler,
Okay.
owned by John Warbiff, which is on the bottom now in Santa Barbara.
Wow.
Where it sunk on its mooring.
No way.
Yeah, it was virgin territory.
So you guys are going out in a brand new landing. What kind of fish were you guys fishing for at the time?
Well, we fished rockfish in the winter, fish yellows, barracuda, and calicos and everything. After that's before the massive sand bass runs that don't happen no more.
Wow.
Yeah.
So did you fit? I mean, this was brand new. There was no sport boats before this, anything, right?
There had been,
but not local
out of Hueneme.
Okay. So did you go out on those boats at Hueneme a lot, or not really?
No, I was too young.
So this was brand new to you. You just said, "Hey, I'm going to jump on this boat. I don't know how to fish any of this stuff. I'm just going to learn how to do it."
Right.
So what was that like? I mean, do you remember like jumping on it the first day? Were you like, I don't know what the hell I'm doing?
Well, I went fishing a couple times, and then I didn't feel like being a carpenter with my dad, so I just asked John Warwick, "Can I get a job?" He goes, "No problem."
Wow. So how was the crowd then? Were you doing a lot more because no one really knew what they were doing? Were you helping a lot more people rig up stuff? The way I look at it, we were all fishing junk gear in them days. Mm-hmm.
We do, I could buy a pin reel like a pin 27, $5.
Wow.
You got to remember, everything all of a sudden just went up the chart. But yeah, but we still caught big fish.
Yeah, no, of course. What was the first like big bite you guys started getting into when you went on the boat? Where you're like, oh man, you're catching like really big, yellowtail or whatever it might be. What was it?
Well, we fished yellows at Anacapo. If you caught 4 or 5 in a day or in a morning, you'd fish in the morning, and then you would move on to calicos, and they always fish halibut, at least one drift a day.
Mm-hmm.
It's totally different this day and age.
I bet.
It's totally different the way they fish nowadays.
So now, I mean, when you were drifting, you guys were using live bait, the same stuff. Everything
Anchovies only.
Anchovies
There
only.
was no sardines. I seen few years there was no mackerel either.
Wow. So you weren't? Did you? Now, when you seen the bluefin come up here in the last, have you got on fish that?
Oh, I've killed my share of bluefin.
yeah, not the ones that come up into.
I didn't come up. I didn't go pursue them.
No.
No, I just on my long range trips my brother and I were doing.
Yeah. No, that's really cool. I mean, the calico thing too is cool. I mean, were you catching a lot of calico that were like in the 5 to 10 pound range?
Most of the big ones I ever seen were caught on the beach.
Okay.
On the not the LJ, but on the other structure, the whaleheads and everything.
Okay.
On the shell. Yeah, a 14 pounder was nothing.
That's so crazy. That is so crazy. It's like I'm trying to get a 10. That's my goal. And I don't even know if it will happen.
I remember that the half day boat, but he was running with Cal Shipper ran it. You'd go out there and you'd catch calicos 5 at a time on a rock cut canyon.
It's like an A-rig nowadays.
Yeah.
Do you ever remember like when you first were into the boat and on there as a deckhand, the rough weather? Because you guys have different weather up there. That's another thing.
Oh, I've seen my share.
I bet. You have any crazy stories when you're on the boat?
No, not really.
You got a pretty good crazy one where you're running the boat surfing it.
I know. I was a Ranger 85. Almost broached it.
What happened?
Rolled my boss across the floor. Oh, he goes. We're up at McGill, coming back down, blowing, big swell. He goes, okay, you're driving. I'm gonna take a nap. Fine. So I'm on the wheel, and he did tell me. He goes, don't be surfing. Well, he shouldn't have told me that. Anyhow, I'd get up on these things, and I'd turn the wheel over, and I'd get it going downhill, and I'd pick up speed, turn off of it. Well, I didn't turn off of one. Boat slid around like that.
Got in big trouble.
Scared the shit.
That's crazy. Yeah. I'm sure. You're like, not doing that again.
No, I was back at it. You don't learn.
No, you're right. You're right.
But I've seen weather out here that just unbelievable.
So here's another question for you. Since you're around on all this, everything you've done, you were kind of doing in the beginning. Surface irons. Do you remember the first surface iron you threw and gear you're throwing it on?
Mostly everything was on a Pin 500.
Okay.
A Pin 500. And nothing really, basically, they're all about the same now still,
Did they have them around when you first started, or did that come out during when you
No,
were working?
they had iron out when I first started.
How long has the surface iron been around for?
Years.
Yeah. Years
30,
before that.
30, 40 years maybe.
Yeah.
Surface iron, yeah. Because they used to fish a lot of barracuda and stuff down south.
Were you using caddies then?
Not so much caddies, it'd be like candy bars, stuff like that.
Yeah. Oh, do you remember when the gear changed and you were starting to get this gear that was kind of like, wow?
Not really, because it's just such a gradual change. You don't notice it.
Yeah.
Unless you really stumbled onto something.
I'm sure you noticed the line though when Braid came out and stuff.
Didn't like braid at first. Braid, you got to remember, braid is from the time it first started has changed a lot. Braid used to break real easy. It was not what you wanted most of the time.
And even when you're throwing big baits, you're throwing mono on the big bait?
There's a reason for doing that, especially the ones that sink. Mono floats, braid sinks.
Yeah.
There's aspects on a swim bait. Maybe you want 30-pound test because you don't want it going down very fast.
Mm-hmm.
If you got it on light line,
Yeah.
straight to the bottom.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah. And surface lures, mono.
Yeah. To keep it up on top.
Yeah, not even fluorocarbon. Fluorocarbon sinks.
Yeah, right. That's another one.
Yeah.
Oh, it's cool hearing all the stuff come out, and I'm sure when the line started getting better after the braid, like
I use braid, but
now you do, huh?
Yeah, he does now.
but like I told you, I like to fish the iron in deep water.
Do you?
Oh, love it.
What's your big yellowtail? What's your big rockfish from up there, like a snapper?
Out here,
Yeah.
back in the day when you could fish deep water, cows.
How deep was it?
Oh, 100 and some fathoms, 130 fathoms. Big cows, 30 pounds. There's cows. There's still spots off Anacapa and stuff where the cows are so big, you put down 100-pound ganyons and they break them apart.
That's wild.
But that's in the 100 and some fathoms.
Yeah. You were catching big fish. And what's your big yellowtail?
Pretty close to 50.
Wow. What was this? What year was this?
Oh, this was way back.
So you're fighting on real crappy gear then?
Oh, yeah. Foros and Pin 500s.
Yeah.
I'm using 3Os and stuff right now to rockfish.
Yeah.
They're 50 years old.
And they probably work just as good as the new stuff.
They work better.
Yeah, that's one thing you notice a lot of the stuff. I mean, the more technology you get, these reels are really nice sometimes to cast, but you take them to salt a couple times and they turn into a pile of crap.
Yes. If you can't work on your own reels, you're in trouble.
I don't. I just take them to Daiwa and drop them off. Do you have some more pictures we could look at in there that you could talk about?
Which ones?
I know you got a ton, so it'd be cool to
got
talk about some of
He's got a ton.
these cool pictures you brought in those photo albums.
Oh, and here?
Yeah.
Let's see which one. Let's see which one we got.
So yeah, it's all kind of mixed. So some of it's like bass fishing, some
Yeah.
of it's ocean fishing. Everything.
You ain't showing this picture.
Let's see. Oh man, what is going on right there?
We're
Bear, huh?
illegally hunting swordfish.
Swordfish. Did you do deep drop stuff back then?
They didn't
Sword
even-
fishing?
Oh no, they
No.
never. They didn't even know what deep drop was.
There's some good ocean pictures past that.
Wow, look at that thing. How big was that?
Which one? I'll show you the big one.
See, there's sea
His mom
bass.
got that picture.
This is sea bass.
Oh, that's a black sea bass, salmon.
Were you catching salmon up there?
I've seen salmon bites so unbelievable here. Twice in my life. It was unreal.
No way.
There's the biggest one I got. That's 654 pounds. It's 13 feet long.
That's how did you catch it? Harpooning it? You can't do that though, huh?
Not anymore.
You used to be able to?
Oh yeah.
Can we show a picture of that?
I'm gonna look for a big, I'm gonna look for a big picture.
Yeah.
It's crazy too, because it's like the rock fishing, right? So when we would go rock fish, like you could catch cow cod. There was like no problem with it. You know, now it's taboo.
Now you can only take 4.
But like cow cod, I don't even think you can still take cows.
No,
that
you
I
can't
know.
take cow cod, but you can only take 4.
4 reds. I
Yeah,
think
that's
now.
it.
Yeah.
It's like
So
crazy.
a lot of things changed, from when I was a kid, to go fish. The footprint was open at that point in
Yeah.
time, so you could go fish.
That has a lot of bass.
This one's got a lot of bass in it. Yeah, you go out and fish the footprint, and he'd take me out with my uncle.
Yeah.
We go fish cows and salmon grouper and
Not
lingcod,
anymore.
and yeah, you just can't do it anymore.
But you guys were catching salmon up here too?
Oh yes.
That was in
I've seen
90s.
three good seasons.
Of salmon.
Yes.
Wow.
I got sick of them.
Well, that's crazy that, I mean, you don't get them down here anymore, right?
No.
No, I think the last
Well, no,
time.
they'll be back.
You
No,
think?
they come to there every year.
You ever get striper out in the ocean?
You know, a friend of mine was just telling me there in Ventura, off the point. There's that picture of the.
Yeah.
That picture.
Let me remember that. I want to take a good picture of it too.
Yeah, it's in this. Well,
Yeah.
You can look all through these.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's so many bass pictures.
Oh, I bet.
These are all good.
Do you have the 17 in there?
Yeah, it's
Right there.
But did you ever catch striper when you were out fishing on the
No.
never in the
No,
ocean?
no.
these are all cool. This is all cool stories too.
This is see that picture?
Yeah.
You know how many of them halibut I caught?
How many?
14.
All those halibut. Was that your deal too?
So that's a good story. That's that's when Tad Gailey ran the Gentleman.
Uh-huh. So you went out with them and you were just catching them.
There's one my brother and I used to fish. See all the lingcods in that corner?
Oh my God.
That was the footprint before they closed it.
Wow. Fishing just used to be so good.
Tell this story.
It still is.
It's still easy. I think up your way it's pretty good. Yeah, tell the story on the halibut. I think that'd be pretty cool.
Oh, hey, we're out fishing up in the bow. Find that swordfish picture.
Okay.
Anyhow, I'm fishing up in the bow, and we had a mix of sardines and anchovies. We're up in China Harbor.
Mm-hmm.
I love fishing halibut. Anyway. So I pin on this Dean and I cast it out, and I'm doing I'm actually just fishing for him, dragging, and couldn't get bit. So I reach in there and go, okay, anchovy, cast, hit the bottom, first one. Found out they would not touch a sardine, but they wanted anchovies. I had almost 14 fish on the boat before I told them. So the rest of the people.
But did they get it? They didn't get it. You know, after they told them the anchovy thing?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, but see, I wouldn't tell them.
Yeah. Oh, my gosh. This is where now?
This is Channel Islands.
And this is how big?
654.
654. Swordfish. Look at that. So you were able to you can still harpoon them if you're a commercial fisherman, right?
Most of the permits are gone, everything.
Yeah, I think you have to have a permit.
I think Bear Flag's the only person I know that Bear Flag fishing.
There's hardly anybody. It's too expensive.
So tell us about that. How did you get into doing that?
My old boss.
He harpooned the.
He worked on a boat in San Pedro. They were the first sport boat to ever harpoon a.
Do you remember the name of the boat by any chance?
Oh hell no! But there's a deal. Actually, there is a film on it.
Oh really?
Yes, but I
Wow.
couldn't tell you the name of it. And he just one day he goes, "Hey kid, you want to do something different?" We were out by San Nick looking for on the Cherry Bank and stuff, looking for albacore.
Okay.
You know, with people. He brought it. He brought a harpoon down.
And that was that fish?
No, that one's 3 miles off Ventura.
Wow. So that's crazy. That.
I've seen more of them in the channel than I ever did.
Did you ever try the deep drop stuff, fishing rod and reel form?
Nope,
Never.
not yet.
Because that's the new thing where I guess the last 5 to 6 years people been doing that with the swordfish.
Yes.
Yeah, like how they were doing it on the East Coast. It seems
Yeah,
like they
exactly.
transferred it over here.
Yeah. But it's crazy to see you catching one that big that long ago,
Well, they've always been here.
Yeah. I mean, and then the sand bass. How was the sand bass fishing back then? Because that's one thing I miss and I always talk about is I never.
Back in the day,
Yeah.
unbelievable.
Really?
We'd limit out 50 people. That was 10 fish limits.
Quick. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, man. That's awesome. That's
And
just.
if you like to fish the plastic, it was on.
That would be me.
Yeah, that's probably how I learned, to fish a plastic, fishing on the Coraloma when Don Rowell ran it. When Gary Imblum owned it, I was little, and like he taught me how to fish it as far as like what to look for
Yeah.
when you cast that thing. So he was making molds of, like ocean size swim baits. Well, I was taking the Worm Kings, chopping them up, melting them all down. So like that trout pattern would turn just a certain color, and it got bit really
Like
well.
a dark brown or something.
Yeah, it would kind of look like poop, and I'd take
what's
I'd
funny?
melt them all down,
That's
and
so
then
funny you
I'd
say
pour
that.
them.
Because I had a guy on named Erik Johnson, and he fished the SWBA really good, did really well, and he said his favorite color was that. It was like this poop looking color he's fishing sand bass real deep for.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean-
yeah, they would mow it. I mean, we would go fish twilight, after fishing all day, because he'd take me Saturday and Sunday. We'd fish all day.
Wow.
You go out and fish twilight, and you just bomb that thing.
Yeah.
Hang on. Sand bass fishing was different.
You liked fishing plastics a lot for your calico and your sand bass? Yeah. And it's like the same thing almost as...
I really don't like fishing bait unless I have to.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, the last yellow bite we got on, which I only hooked one, I was fishing plastic. I was going on the plastic.
Well, do you remember what you're throwing?
Probably the fluke, I would assume.
I think I was throwing the fluke.
The Redemption Swimbaits Fluke.
Yeah,
He has them at... I think Erik has them.
It's a
Oh, no, I was using the regular bass flukes.
Were you?
yeah. Just
I
like,
started fishing those with Jesse down at when he was running the Island Spirit.
Mm-hmm.
I took some with me, and I go, I'm going to throw these in the weeds. Nobody even thought about fishing them things. So I put them on a little 1/4 ounce lead head. Jesse looked at me and goes, he's up on the tank, and he goes, what are you going to do with that damn thing? I go, I'm going to catch a bass. He goes, yeah, right. And I go, every cast was a bass. Every cast.
And he's like, wow.
Yeah.
yeah, so see how he's like crisscrossing a lot of the things that he learns in the ocean, he takes it to the lake, and then the stuff he learns at the lake, he takes it to the ocean. He was always thinking outside the box, and that's probably why he was so successful at... Uh-oh. Yeah, he like I said, man, he was always, always outside the box, and...
You got to be. I mean, it's crazy for the day and age that you were doing it, like thinking outside the box that's a totally different story then, because there was no YouTube or any type of, guide to look at to go, hey, this is how I'm going to do it. You don't know.
Yeah, there was no social media,
Yeah.
and I think a lot of people, I guess thought he was kind of an asshole in ways, and they just didn't approach him. But yeah,
I didn't approach you.
he was just super tight-lipped, and a lot of that stuff, he pretty much had just free reign at doing whatever he wanted at the lake as far as catching bass. And
But I think you had a plan, and it's not like you're an asshole. It's more of like, I'm doing this. I'm not going to put all this work in so you can do what I'm doing.
yeah,
I just didn't spread it around. That's all.
Yeah.
yeah, it's like I think we talked about it before. Like a lot of people think that he had an aluminum boat, but he didn't. It was an old Monarch. So
Yeah.
it was like a 70s Monarch.
You just painted
76.
that color.
Gray. It used
Why
to be
did you
red.
paint it gray?
Because it had gotten so beat up, so we just flipped it over and
Done.
painted it.
Made it easy.
Oh, and it's harder to see.
So people couldn't see you, or
Yeah.
Just less flashy.
Yeah.
that's not a joke. Like even nowadays, you're in your boat. These dudes that fish big bass now, they see him and they go, "Oh, look what they're doing." Where are they at?
Well,
It's the truth.
I used to sit there, like during the spawn season, and all these guys with $100,000 boats would be over there picking nests, hi-fi, I'd be out on an area at 60, 70 foot of water catching 10-pound fish on the surface. Gosh. They didn't even know it.
Yeah, right. I mean, that's the good thing though. Is you're in that boat. The little things that you're doing, people are doing now, but you did it then. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, he was outside the box. I mean, probably way before his time.
Yeah. Who were some other guys that you fish with that you maybe give a little credit to back then? You know what I'm saying? Some largemouth guys that were thinking outside the box just like you.
I really didn't know too many. I know I fished around Marlon Spencer. I don't know if he's alive anymore, from Santa Barbara. He was making his own, started making his own swim boats, baits. He was, we fished a lot of crawdads for a while.
Did you get into that as well too?
Oh, I fished them for 2 years.
So that's when everyone was kind of doing. Did you raise your own crawdads?
No, I went and trapped them.
Did you?
There used to be areas you could go trap them, but not anymore.
How that's a whole different type of fishing too, right? Crawdad fishing.
Yes.
Can you talk about it a little, like what you were doing then?
Well, Brian Bowman was your main man for years with like the crawdad fishing and the big baits.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it was just I'd go trap these crawdads, and then I had a decent meter then. I was using a Marine Tech, and you don't look for a lot of fish. You fish like probably no deeper than 25 feet of water.
Okay.
Mainly 21 and 22. You see one of the magic numbers. I'd go meter. I used to double down with anchors, so I couldn't be washed away. And just start fishing, either fly line them, hook between the eyes, or a teeny split shot. And you could catch 100 fish off a spot on one mark, kind of like albacore.
So when you're doing this, did you get guys coming from Castaic trying to fish the same way, like Castaic, looking for that big fish?
I didn't pay much attention to them.
Okay. Because I know when Butch was fishing Castaic for that, these guys had that run of big fish group, all those guys.
Yeah, the same time I was doing this.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So this was like you guys kind of kept to yourself on your lake.
Oh, pretty much, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was only like a handful of people I even talked to.
Yeah.
Oh,
that's what I'm saying. It's cool having you on. You're like the Butch of, you did your own thing at Casitas, and people know that are local to that, and you look at the shit you bring. It's like amazing, it's a cool thing.
But I just like to make stuff too at times.
Yeah.
I get bored and I go, let's like that one new lure in there that he had. I just threw that together one day.
Just bored. So there you go. Take it.
Yeah.
It's a cool thing. Let's close up a little bit. We're going to try to do another one of these as well. There's a lot to talk about. I just wanted to make sure we got them on and we could do some of this history. Ton of history. I'm going to be taking pictures of all this stuff after so we could place it on the podcast. Let's plug your local tackle shop because I know you don't really have anything to plug.
There's only two that I use, and that's is Erik's and Rick Graham, the Angler's Den in Camarillo.
Nice. Do you guys pretty much go to Erik's as well too?
Yeah, just go to Erik's.
Yeah. Do you guys? But you fish locally or no?
Well, no, I'm in Utah, but yeah, he's in Tehachapi, so he's fishing all the little ponds up there.
Nice.
He's kind of taking the trickle down effect.
What's your favorite bait? You want to jump on the mic real quick and talk about what you're doing?
Yeah.
Since you're here, man, I want to hear what you're doing.
My favorite bait.
What are you catching them on right now? You might not want to give it away though, huh?
I don't really care. Just like mag drafts.
Okay.
Bigger, like 6-inch, 8-inch swim baits.
Nice. Have you thrown any of the tiny flashes or anything like that yet?
No.
No. All right. I'm gonna have a couple baits for you to try out. Got a ton of crap here, so it's cool to see you're doing the same thing and you really like it. You go on your own and fish a lot?
Yeah.
Nice. That's cool. Do you hit up Grandpa to go fishing ever?
I
Not yet, kid. Well, stick at it, man. That's cool to see all generations of fishermen here. And all you guys, throw a swim bait too as well. So thanks again for coming on. We'll be doing another one for sure next when you can come back down and do something. Or maybe I'll come up to you guys and make it easier and go to Erik's and do it at Erik's and set up there. Yeah. That way you guys don't have to drive here and you can just come there. Maybe get Erik in on it because you know Erik for a while and he knows a lot of the history as well.
I've known Erik too long.
Yeah, and thanks to you, Erik, because Erik helped this out a lot. He's a big help, big supporter of the podcast as well. And thanks for listening. You guys will hear us pretty soon. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.